I have sympathy, and I don't normally have sympathy for athletes who make hundreds of millions of dollars, but I see what he's going through. I see what he's been through, and I think that everything that you talked about, it's all weighing on him. Getting punched by a teammate, the expectations that come with a massive contract, and something that Steph Curry said yesterday in the postgame. Steph said that Jordan Poole is now on other teams' scouting report for the first time.
Sure.
And that's a thing. And other teams, they saw last year in the playoffs how you can get to Jordan Poole. If you play him physically, that's not Jordan's comfort zone. So now Jordan Poole's got to make an adjustment in his game to counteract what other teams are doing against him, against the backdrop of new expectations and the fact that his teammate punched him in the face and wasn't punished. I think all of that, I'm sorry, Mark, all of that, I think, is weighing on Jordan Poole.
I agree. I mean, and not so much by he missed some shots or you didn't like his plus minus. When he goes out there in a situation like last night and only shoots 4 times, that just feels like, well, that's not Jordan Poole.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
you don't know Jordan Poole.
Well, I don't, but I'd like to ask. I mean, you don't look like yourself there, bud. What's going on? You know what I mean? Wouldn't you ask him that right now? If you ran into him on the street, wouldn't that be your first? I mean, after you asked him for a picture, wouldn't your next question be, what's going on? You don't look like yourself right now.
Yeah.
You know, get Nick Bosa. Jordan, you good? Like, are you good?
Right.
John in Richmond, next up on Willard and Dibs. Hey, John, what are you doing?
Oh, not much, guys. Listen, do you think that Jordan is like maybe not trying like to his full, like he just doesn't seem as aggressive because of the punch and because of the way the Warriors handled it? I mean, everyone said at the time that he was handling it so well, but don't forget, he had that contract hanging over his head, so he kind of had to be that way. And now that he's gotten paid, I mean, the only 2 games I can remember him going off, like where he seemed really aggressive, was in Detroit, which, he played at Michigan, and then the game where Draymond didn't play. And so it's like, what if this guy doesn't feel it with Draymond anymore, and that's just where we're at? I mean, what do you do then? Because it seems to me like you guys said, he ain't missing shots. He's just not taking them. And it seems like that's a purposeful choice. That's not like, my shot left me or I'm on my head. I don't want to shoot because apparently these guys don't respect me and they let this dude just knock me out. And, so I was just wondering your guys' opinion.
So I actually think within your call, John, lies the answer, but it's not necessarily any of the ideas you brought up. If I'm Jordan Poole, here's what's making my brain hurt right now. What's making my brain hurt is that I have just been through a very unique situation and a bunch of stuff I've never experienced before. And every day I wake up and a bunch of people who have never met me before are in the public space talking about what I psychologically think.
And what I should do.
That's not easy, okay? This is where, and we talk about sympathy for people with lots of money. This is one of the things, this is a key component to something I love to think about and discuss with the athletes and coaches who are center space here with our job, is that it's very easy for all of us to forget when we see great job, millions of dollars, they're doing what we all wish we could do with our lives. Therefore, we remove from them the idea that they're just a person. Jordan Poole went to bed last night, woke up in a bed the same way you did. And then
might have slept on the couch like some of us have to.
Maybe.
You never know.
Rolled over, put 2 feet on the ground, and got that gunk in his eyes just like you do.
Gunga galunga.
Hey, gungala gungala. Such a good reference.
Thank you.
And then, just like you, he probably went,
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Right. And then right after that.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
I don't want to get up today. Man, it's cozy in these sheets. And I know what's going on out there. You got somebody in Livermore, somebody in Palo Alto, somebody in San Rafael, and somebody in the city who's got it all figured out, what the hell's going on in my brain. And now it's, I don't care. Oh, Jordan Poole got the bag, and so now he doesn't care.
He's mad at Draymond, so he's not shooting.
I have the hardest time believing that a 23-year-old human being, do you understand, he's been called by his teammates the hardest worker on the entire team. He went to the G League 2 years ago. He was called a bust. He weaved his way to being a very relevant figure on a very relevant team, had a high level of success, got a massive contract, and then woke up the next day and went, poof, that's the end of caring. Come on. When are you all going to give this man a little bit of slack? Clay, too, for that matter.
Let's put Clay aside for
Put Clay aside, but this is fascinating to me how two people who were key cogs to a championship 5 months ago are both going through pretty unique journeys right now, and they're a short sample. It's been 3 weeks. How many different trade proposals I've looked at on every platform I have, you all just want to get rid of them. You want these people off of your team 5 months after they won a ring. Can you give them a second?
Yeah.
Just give them a second.
That was a second. And, Mark, this is where people are coming from, and this is where I am looking at this in terms of Jordan Poole. Let's put Clay aside, because Clay is not suffering from the same lack of confidence that Jordan Poole is suffering from. Clay is suffering from a lack of fitness, a lack of physical comfortability. Clay is frustrated that he's not the same Clay that he wants to be. He's not shying away from attempting to be as Clay as he can be. Jordan Poole, the last 6 games, shot attempts, 20, 21, 10, 12, 18, 4. 4. So you come off a 3 for 10, a 4 for 12, and a 5 for 18. That's a total of 12 for 40. That's not very good.
No.
That is, it's about 30%, if I'm not mistaken.
I have a phone right
It's
here.
exactly 30%. 12 for 40. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 40.
I got the answer. It's 30%.
Thank you. So he shot 30% over his last 3.
Not good.
So then he comes out and he goes 1 for 4. This is not what we know Jordan Poole to be. Jordan Poole is typically very aggressive. Some would say too aggressive. Some would say he shoots too much. And then you come out and you go 1 for 4 in a game. You only play 22 minutes because you just aren't yourself right now. So put aside the lunatic fringe who says, oh, you shouldn't have paid him, or you need to trade him, or you need to this, you need to that. What's wrong with Jordan Poole? That's where, if I'm the coach, that's where I want to get to.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Because something is wrong with Jordan Poole.
Right. Something, it's a bad streak.
What's eating Jordan Poole?
And
not Gilbert Grape.
I'm not here to say that it looks good. Like Chris A. right now on our YouTube chat. I disagree, Mark. JP isn't exempt from criticism. I have no sympathy for him. He thinks he's a star. He needs to play like it. Okay, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I never stated that he's exempt from criticism.
Right.
I said right now he should be exempt from anybody who wants him off the roster or off the floor. Like, oh my gosh, we overpaid Jordan Poole. He's a bust. He thinks he's a star. He's not. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is, in some ways, the reason the Warriors won the title last year. You already knew what Steph was. You knew what Draymond was. You hoped what Klay Thompson would come back and look like, and he mostly did. But remember the scout last week from the Eastern Conference, unnamed scout, who said...
Unnamed.
Thank
you.
And undisclosed.
Every time I need it.
That scout said if they want to win again this year, they're going to need a different young guy to have a Jordan Poole-type breakout year. That was why the Warriors were suddenly so effective. Steph could leave the floor. Hell, Steph could leave the team for 3 weeks. Jordan Poole was there with his 22 points. And so you could still function. These guys have built up a certain something, if you ask me.
Je ne sais quoi.
With the Warrior fan base that should allow just a breath. I'm not here to say you can't be frustrated or that you can't rip Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is now getting paid like a big man. You got to go play like a big man. I get that. But it's been, what'd you just lay out, 6 games since this streak of whatever has gone on where the Warriors have gone 1-5.
It's a funk.
Right? Like, just, let's see.
Well, and I think
let's see if they can get themselves out of this.
And solutions, right? You and I are trying to work and find solutions. To me, the solution is not let's trade Jordan Poole, because that's not going to happen. He signed for 4 more years after this one, which is 324 regular season games. The Warriors aren't going to trade a guy who they just gave $130 million to, because you're not going to get full value. So you're going to take a guy who's clearly struggling, he's broken emotionally, or he's given up on his team, whatever you want to say is the problem. And so the Warriors like, geez, Jordan stopped trying, and Jordan, he's got the bag, he's given up. Let's trade him. No other team is going to give you the value that you think you can get. So you're not trading Jordan Poole. How do you fix Jordan Poole? How do you get to him and get him back to be the player that he was? And let's just say you can do that. And let's say that Klay Thompson becomes Klay Thompson again. You still have about 17 other problems with this team.
Yes.
Even if Klay and Jordan Poole get back to being what they were, Steph has been amazing. Kevon has been Kevon. Wiggins has been solid. And Draymond, love him or hate him, Draymond's played pretty darn well.
Yeah,
so
fine.
If those 6 guys get back to playing the way those 6 guys can and should, you still aren't a championship team, because players 7, 8, 9, all the way down to the end of the bench, that's where your problem lies.
You have no bench. You have no bench. I mean, if we get to the end of the year and we're like, gosh, it turns out that Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole played 82 bad games, well, then this season's gone.
Lottery.
And it's not going to happen that way, I don't believe. The Warriors need a bench. They don't have a bench.
Right.
And they have made the bet, and Jama told us this, they have made the bet, Malalela.
Appreciate it.
He made the bet, the whole Warriors made the bet that they are going to develop the bench rather than go buy the bench. So if you're going to develop the bench, it makes sense. It's going to take a minute. I don't know if they made a good bet. Right now, it does not appear that they did, but I think, raise your hand if you've ever been wrong about the Warriors before. Yeah, raise your hand if at any point.
You can't make me. You mean last year when I said they weren't going to win the title?
Raise your hand if you wrote the Warriors off.
Okay, Mark. All right.
So
I put on deodorant today, so I feel confident.
Out of bed.
It's been a couple days. Actually, I was told in the home front last night. Might have been during snuggle time. She said, "Is that you?
Oh gosh,
is that you?" And I said, with this baby, I haven't. It's been a couple days.
You stink.
It's been a couple days since I showered, and she turns to me and she says, "Don't be the stinky. Don't be that guy.
Stinky daddy.
Don't be the stinky guy." I said, all right, I'm going to go take a shower.
Now you know why little baby crying.
Seriously.
She's just like, Daddy, like, get me away from your armpit.
Man.
You stink.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like I'm a receiver. Is it Atlanta? Who Kyle Pitts?
Oh, he stinks.
Kyle Pitts. Is it Kyle Pitts? I should wear my Kyle Pitts gamer in. It's a 4.
Yeah, that would be if Kyle didn't use deodorant. Then you'd be, Kyle Pitts.